The Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 6. From the desert comes a stranger. Was it good? We are Was It Good? And we're going to figure that out right now. I'm Ravi, joined by
Krishna
and Arjuna. And we are Was It Good?
We are Was It? Oh,
we are
Mr.
Was
Q.
It Good?
I'm hoping, so this is the third week that everyone has tried to do a unified Was It Good? I'm hoping by week 4 we forget that and continue.
Well, you paused, so I actually thought we weren't going to do it, but then you paused after
I know, I just
said
wanted
it.
to see what would
And
happen.
I was like, all right, I guess we're doing it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see what would happen.
I missed the cue.
I figured in post when you were cutting and editing this, you would have removed the pause.
No.
Wow, you just keep it all.
I like keeping it natural because, it just...
People want authenticity.
Yeah, we want an authentic conversation.
Oh, then here's an authentic take. Why the fuck would you call it Book of Boba Fett? And in the last 2 motherfucking episodes, Boba Fett shows up for 10 seconds and doesn't say a single fucking thing.
Ravi, how many books have you read in your life? It's under 10, correct?
No, it's under 100 for sure.
All right, it's under 5. Books aren't always about...
When was the last time you read a full book? In 2022.
I have not read a full book in 2022.
And we're in the 2nd month of the Lord's good year 2022.
All right, the Super Bowl is happening.
So, you could read the teleprompt. That's not a book.
Well, I'm just going to say, as we're getting right into the Boba Fett isn't even in his own show anymore discussion, clearly it was never going to be about him completely.
But then to Ravi's point, why name it the Book of Boba Fett? Maybe they should have just
alliteration. Maybe they're like, what goes with Boba? Book.
Maybe they should have done then like the Tales of Tatooine.
So I will.
That would have made a lot more sense.
I bring up that hot take because, again, obviously we're jumping into it, but last week I did say the similar thing. Like the naming of the show and what we're seeing kind of makes little to no sense. Everybody and their mother has an opinion on the show. Everybody and their mother has, a theory, a hypothesis, whatever. Somebody on Twitter, a person that goes by the name of The Book of Adam Frazier, or at Adam Frazier, he did an entire thread and made sure he turned off comments so that you couldn't really respond to his thread. But his take was basically, he was saying that the whole reason this thing is called The Book of Boba is really about Boba Fett as a character and his impact on the galaxy through the eyes of various characters. Basically, he's making the argument that if Boba Fett does not exist and Boba Fett does not be Boba Fett, the galaxy doesn't get to the point where the galaxy is at its current point. And one of his big takeaways is actually around Grogu, who we actually saw in this episode. Without Boba Fett, Mando doesn't get Grogu.
Grogu dead.
Grogu doesn't interact with Luke, and potentially what we saw today or saw in that episode, Luke being kind of Sithy in his way and being absolute like pick Mando armor or pick lightsaber.
That all he's just old school Jedi that actually got them all killed.
Right, but isn't the whole thing that a Sith deals in absolutes?
Yeah, but that's a little different. Like this is just going back to the old Jedi way of like get rid of emotion and feeling, and you'll be basically
No attachment.
What fell to the fall of the Jedi?
Yeah, sure. Before we jump into Luke and his whole clusterfuck of being,
Luke's a bitch. Always has been.
To this point, back to the title of the show, the Book of the Boba Fett. It's not the Book of the
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Book of the
I
Boba.
love it.
But basically,
changes
the argument is that the show is really just not necessarily about a character in the traditional sense, but more about a character and his actions on the universe.
Which is honestly better. Because remember what we talked about at the beginning of the show? I think even before the show came out, it's like, how do you make a glorified statue into a compelling 3D character? Right?
Wow.
And the answer is you don't.
You leave him as a statue.
You leave him as a toy.
That's what you should have done.
And you focus on the stuff around him, which is much more interesting, clearly, based off of these last
But going
two
back to this point that this individual made, and still kind of at the same time criticizing what we got off the show, if they leaned more into that idea, where, to what you just said, where how do you take a glorified statue and make him interesting? You make him interesting by keeping him mysterious and showing what his contributions do through the eyes of other characters.
You
right?
make other protagonists.
Ahsoka is another character that he is affected by Boba in the sense that, you could do an episode around Ahsoka and Boba running into each other because through her eyes,
still happen.
Who does she see? She sees Rex, right? Bo-Katan, another person that interacts with this character, and it's a big impact because who's Boba's father? Jango. A Mandalorian, the whole shebang. Like it goes on and on and on where like this character
and a lot of
Boba
those characters
Fett,
also have personal connections with them throughout Clone Wars and various other media as well. So
in conclusion,
5 out of 10.
Stupid title, piss poor execution.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I think the whole planning of it is I'd love to sit in the writing room and figure out why they came up with the structure that they did. Like the structure should be there for a reason, and right now we cannot figure out what that reason is. In fact, the structure's made it weak.
There still is one more episode, so
That's
maybe
true.
it all somehow comes together. Obviously, I think it's unlikely that this all makes sense all of a sudden. But who knows? I don't disagree in terms of the structure and the titling issue, but you could still make the argument that the last 2 episodes, regardless of the title, regardless of pulling the shift away from Boba, are up there with any Mandalorian episode, potentially even better.
100%.
And
I don't know about better, but they're up there. They feel like they would seamlessly fit into either season.
And also, I think like this last episode, and obviously we'll get into it, it's like the culmination of like 2 decades of Star Wars storytelling across different medias and different mediums, and is actually like potentially a champion of that too. Dave Filoni directed this last episode, and it almost felt like the guy, if you want to use the NBA analogy, is like, this is game 7, I'm going to take 50 shots, and that's essentially what he did. He emptied the bag out for this episode. It's like, what else can I put in?
You're saying Dave Filoni went full Kobe Bryant.
Correct.
And just kept chucking them up.
He's like Robert, John, Bryce, everyone else, step aside. I got this.
But it's like those meme when Scalabrini, takes off his bench warmer jacket, and there's an explosion behind him. He's like, "Sit down, LeBron. I got this."
But you know what's interesting with Filoni though is I don't know if it's necessarily that exact NBA analogy where it's like, just sit down, I got this, because the beautiful thing with Filoni is he mapped all of these characters out a while ago with his Clone Wars series. I sent a TikTok that I found that showcased that was highlighting one of the old previs arcs from the Clone Wars season 7 that never happened. They dropped it at a celebration a couple of years ago, and in that arc, it actually explains how Boba Fett gets the dent in his helmet. It's in a duel, very kind of good, the bad, the ugly, Western style between him and Cad Bane.
Right, and he kills Cad.
And
Bane
supposedly he kills Cad in that. Right? Yeah.
Which, by the way,
could happen. That whole thing could happen.
Right. When we have this, I put this in the outline for later, but if we do the math on Cad Bane's age,
72.
Yeah, he's old as fuck. Yeah. Especially for his race, according to the internet, through unofficial books like Duros, their old age is 50 to 60, and they're like ancient at 70.
So that explains why he looks so different.
That's how we.
That's been a point of
why, isn't that how? Like, why is he not so blue? I'm like, because he's old.
He's old as.
Isn't that how we consider old people right now? Like when you're 70, that's ancient.
Yeah.
No, but not anymore. Now.
But I'm hoping that by the time we get to 70, so you know how like it's always like 40 is the new 30, and soon it's probably gonna be the 50 is the new 30, and then eventually it'll be 70 is the new 30.
But like I think his age right now would be like if someone was like 90 to 100.
That makes sense
in our age.
It also explain why he looks rounder. He's more pale.
Right.
He doesn't have the same.
There's
hat.
been a lot of like people complaining and whining because we're Star Wars fans. That's all we know how to do.
I don't care. It was badass, and I.
Oh, it was great.
At
the
1
teeth,
o'clock in the morning.
He was, dude. I was legitimately scared. Like this black dark figure
creepy.
walking. It was creepy as fuck.
It was so good.
Again, we're going all over the place, but
that's what
when
we do.
you saw when you saw the little silhouette, did you guys know immediately it was him?
Immediately,
yeah. And I was like, "Are you freaking out?" Right? You're like, "Holy shit!"
I was like, my season long prediction that I made in episode 1 almost came true.
How disappointed were you that it wasn't Paul Giamatti?
I wasn't as disappointed with that because that was more of a joke.
I don't
the
think
fact
it was.
is
I think that's
that I said the penultimate episode would have a showdown between Cad Bane and Boba. Instead, it was Cad Bane and Cobb.
It's a variant of Boba.
Hey, well, he had the Boba armor.
Yeah.
A little while ago.
And as Cad Bane said, bet you wish you had your armor now.
Oh man,
It's the same voice actor, by the way.
Is
who
it?
did the voice
That
in
was my
the
question.
Clone Wars.
Okay,
and Bad Batch.
I meant to ask
So
about that.
they, the actor, and what's interesting is Timothy Olyphant is known from a lot of the westerns he's done. I believe like Justified, Deadwood.
he was in Deadwood.
Yeah, so he's done a lot of that. I think the actor that they had was in one of those westerns with him. So the actor, the physical portrayer.
Oh, they've done it before.
They've done a little duel before, which is cool.
And he got
That's
shot in the
sick.
shoulder as well before.
Yeah,
You all real quick, because again,
he's not dead.
He's definitely not
He's
dead.
not
I don't
dead.
know why anyone thinks he's dead.
Especially like all the people go to him, like they
And not the
ignore the
deputy.
marshal, the deputy, because he's definitely dead.
That guy was an asshole.
Was that John Wayne's like grandson?
No, so the actor is actually the Boba double. That's the
Okay,
he's done a lot of the show already.
So
Oh, wow.
we've seen the Luke double. Now we've seen the Boba double.
Yeah, they're really like paying tribute to the doubles, here,
That's good. You might as well,
which
I
is
mean,
nice.
You don't have to pay extra to get a brand new body. on set.
Speaking of doubles, because again, we're just gonna jump into everything and just go with the flow here. Speaking of doubles, obviously we got a much better CGI version of dead-eyed Luke Skywalker.
Dead-eyed Luke.
He is still dead-eyed Luke Skywalker.
He's not dead-eyed. He's enlightened.
I will say because they actually hired the deepfake
YouTuber
guy,
that yes,
but it looked so much
it
better.
looked a lot
So
better.
much
But the
better.
big question
They hired the
that I
YouTuber?
think has
Yeah,
been
so remember there's the YouTuber who did like a better version of the Luke face at season 2 of Mando?
real quick. I think we're not giving the individual enough credit. He's not just a YouTuber.
Right.
He is a special effects
guy.
artist.
Oh, okay.
Like that's his kind of his bread and
stage.
butter.
But they found
And he
him through
showcased how you could do it
He had
better.
he had a viral video on YouTube, but people were like, "Holy shit, that's so much better than what we got in Mando season 2." Lucas saw this and we're like, "Yeah, we're hiring you. Please help us."
Wow.
So the question I have, and it was actually first seen the day of the episode premiere on Wednesday. The Verge dropped an article where it basically was stating that Star Wars has a Luke Skywalker problem. And at first I thought the article was going to be very much around the idea of Star Wars just can't physically move without a Skywalker being involved. And I was happy to see that was not what the article was talking about. Instead, they were talking more specifically around the idea that Disney and Lucasfilm, for whatever reason, cannot break the habit of digitally de-aging or recreating actors and their portrayal of certain characters. There's one instance with
Han Solo.
Han Solo and Solo, and that, to me, going back and watching that movie, great job. That's still Han Solo. It works. The question is, why is it we can't move beyond the CGI Luke Skywalker?
They also like the House of Disney has a perfect actor under contract that could play young Luke. Sebastian Stan, right? We've seen
He's too busy with Pamela Anderson.
He's not that busy if he's doing that shit. I'm sorry.
He's not that busy. That's like at least a year of just research and method acting. What are you talking about? He's got to be Tommy.
Okay, I'm pretty sure the other side of Disney, the non-Hulu side, the Disney Plus side, Lucasfilm could have paid him more to do
100%.
significantly less work.
100%.
And I just don't understand, to your point too. Like why,
They might, but here's
why not just recast?
the reason is of how poorly Solo was received. That would be my guess.
That's totally what it is. And it's also it's become
think-
precedent with what they did with Leia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with Tarkin, even in Rogue One, it's just that's their method now of like, we're gonna do this because we can, and it kind of sucks. I would rather just see a
Sebastian.
I would rather see a kind of a different portrayal, especially because it's like this interim Luke between original trilogy and sequel trilogy is obviously you get a lot of change in that Luke. So it would actually be nice to see a new portrayer to potentially portray that piece of the journey.
Right, and that's the problem with this Luke. Even though it looked tons, miles, years, epic
Whatever the
spacing
fuck
and
that
size,
finale was.
like it looked a lot better than what we saw in Mando season 2 finale. But it's still dead-eyed Luke Skywalker. It still does not portray emotion properly because it is a digital recreation.
I have to stop you right here.
Yeah.
Clearly, you need to go back and rewatch Return of the Jedi. That portrayal that you see in this thing
Right.
is almost exactly what Mark Hamill gave us in Return of the Jedi.
So to our Julian's point, if you had a live actor, because you have to remember as well, Return of the Jedi is 6 years before that time period.
Yes.
I agree that, yes, if you go back to Return of the Jedi, there is a little bit of deadpan-eyed Luke Skywalker.
Mark Hamill was not the most skilled actor
Sure.
at the time.
But to our Dream's point, if you were able to recast it with, like, let's say Sebastian Stan, it would present something new. In the time period, 6 years, where he is going around collecting weird Sith holocrons and looking at the cult of Sith, I don't know if the character would be that just monotoned. I think all the best, like, even if he is going dark side or going light side or going in the between, like, there would be a little bit more behind the eyes, if you will. And that thing is just a glazed thing
because of the CGI.
Yeah, it's glazed over. Like, it's like, Grogu, pick this or pick this.
I guess the other thing to keep in mind
do you want to be Gimli? Or do you want to be a Jedi?
Oh,
it's Mithril, right?
Yeah,
I guess it'd be Frodo.
It was absolutely
Frodo.
I guess the other thing to keep in mind, though, is that maybe the hesitance to recast is because we have Mark Hamill playing the older Luke, so it might be weird, like someone who's like watching this chronologically, right? As fanboys are apt to do. It might be weird to go from Mark Hamill to Sebastian Stan back to Mark Hamill. That might be weird for people.
People aren't that stupid. People are pretty stupid.
It has nothing to do with.
They're not that stupid.
It has nothing to do with stupidity. It has everything to do with immersion. If seeing a different actor and then going back to the original actor pulls you out of it, that's not what you want.
And it's distracting either way, right?
It's true.
Six one way, half a dozen the other. Is new actor is like, oh, he doesn't look anything like Skywalker.
Oh, and there's certain habits that are off.
It would be nice if they just retconned the sequel trilogy. Just got rid of that.
They could. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Why would they do that and not do the prequels?
I mean, a lot of people have said, like, this is the best. This is the best Star Wars thing that Disney has done.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty.
I definitely agree.
Recency bias. The best thing Star Wars ever did was
Disney
Episode
Star
1.
Wars.
Disney Star Wars.
Oh, you're right.
Because
nothing beats Episode 1.
I got into a conversation with someone. It was like a full-on argument about the sheeple and how the sheeple don't want to retcon or remove or redo the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, why? There's no point.
Right, but the argument this person was making was that the sequel trilogy has blinded us so much that we think the prequel trilogy doesn't need to be removed. And if, like, we go back in time enough, there was big arguments and fights and agreeing that, like, oh, we should get rid of it.
Yeah.
My whole thing for not getting rid of the prequel trilogy, you built so much off of it
I'm
already.
sure they're going to redo all of these movies one day. Like, one day it'll happen.
I mean, it's
Surely
a galaxy.
Nobody thinks the prequels are good.
No. But there
are good moments. There are good moments,
and they can be entertaining in viewed in a certain light.
But, like, the acting's horrible.
No, but
the CGI is definitely trash.
But then you look at the original trilogy. You can look at the sequel trilogy.
Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars has never had a sparkling this is cinema.
Right.
There's a lot of hokiness to it. I mean, it's the Muppets in space, as Bill Burr I think says in his comedy set.
It's not far off.
You have to suspend a lot of disbelief to, like, really absorb
It's not Dune.
Everything about it.
So, suspending disbelief here, we got to see a combination of live action animatronic Grogu and then CGI Grogu with
CGI
Luke CGI in probably a CGI environment
with a practical effect Ahsoka and practical effect Mando.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah, with CGI spider robots.
I guess the question I have for you guys is, like, did any of the CGI that you saw, did any of that feel like, to Christian's point of immersion, did it take you out of it at all? Or did it for once feel kind of intact?
Honestly, it felt speaking of these last two episodes, it feels like they saved the budget for this and they kind of, like, glazed over the first 4 episodes.
Keep talking, it's fine. Don't worry about the cat behind you.
It just feels like they glazed over the first 4 episodes because, like, some of the CG in that with, like, the speeder bikes and stuff, like, and the Vespas look bad. Like, that's why it looked bad, because they're like, oh, let's pour the money.
Actually, real quick, on the Vespa side of things, and I thought this was interesting because we didn't bring this up. So, obviously, there's the cyborg Power Rangers jump up.
They had a cameo in this episode.
They did, and we see them kind of
so did Boba Fett.
They're driving these brightly covered hover craft Vespas, whatever. One of the I guess pro points somebody was making about this is that makes sense for a world or a galaxy that is getting over war. Right. Because if you look at our own history, I guess, post-World War II, especially in Europe, once industry, especially like automotive industry, started picking back up, the Vespa and like brightly colored vehicles and weird things like that, that kind of was the norm post-World War II because all of those resources and things were freed up.
Right.
Again, the show does a terrible job of kind of presenting that idea, and like you get that from some rando.
Star Wars has always had this beautiful thing where they'll just show you stuff and then they'll let the fans
figure it out.
the content. Look at all of the movies.
Yeah, the original movies were really good at that.
All 9 of them are good at that.
Well, to varying degrees.
Yeah. The fans are like, everything must have meaning.
Yeah.
Now it does.
Well, I mean,
Ice
that's
cream
the other
maker.
thing. TikTok is great for this, where people will pull a screenshot, right? Like, there were so many fucking Ahsoka Luke screenshots from this episode, and then Anakin and Ahsoka, and it's like, look at the parallel. And it's like, motherfucker,
We get it.
no.
I mean, I get
like,
why
who
people
cares?
were.
I mean-
it was like an exciting moment though
Yeah.
to finally see like
Did you? I
one
teared
of
up
the
a bit.
one of the most popular characters in the last 20 years in
Luke?
Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Joined with like the original Jedi in all of Star Wars.
The old most popular character.
Yeah, but everyone knew.
I don't know.
But,
I think
wait.
Vader was more popular than Luke.
I know.
But like everyone agrees that Luke is a bitch, right?
Yes. Well,
Like
it's
he's
not,
a straight up ass.
it's not that he's a bitch or an asshole, but
Making Grogu choose when he was like
remember
just a few years ago was like
Remember
I have
this.
to go save Han and Leia.
remember Luke is not a perfect Jedi
Yeah, he's a
or
bitch.
person.
That's why, because he's a bitch.
He has flaws, and he has to. He's gonna keep making mistakes.
Luke sucks.
Let's go to the decision, right? The episode ends with Luke presenting a decision to Grogu. Pick the beautiful, weird, small-sized
Right.
chainmail.
Take the ring to Mordor.
right, or take the lightsaber and
The cute little lightsaber.
the cute little
Luke's,
Yoda's
lightsaber,
old
which
lightsaber,
according to comics has been destroyed.
and he rebuilt it according to
Great.
books. Or
Yeah, why
whatever.
not?
Yeah, exactly. And then Luke took it when he ransacked Yoda's house hut thing. Whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did Mark Hamill voice this Luke, by the way?
So Jon Favreau, to make it even creepier, revealed apparently that the entire voice performance is a digital recreation and is not a real human.
No, that's possible. So Keegan did a whole Obama impersonation where they did voice manipulation of Keegan to sound like Obama. So the technology's there.
It's a digital voice recording.
Yes.
It's not even Mark Hamill.
It's just like words cut from the original trilogy. Like, hello, Grogu. My name is Luke.
South Park did that with the character Chef
Yes,
because
they
Isaac
did,
Hayes
yeah.
had quit, so they did one more episode without him and used
He
all
did
his
quit. He
old
got
footage.
fired.
Well, he quit, and he says he quit. They say they fired him. Who knows?
Either way. But anyway, Grogu's decision, Luke presenting this decision,
Should they do like a television special like LeBron, like The Decision?
that would be amazing.
The Grogu
I'm bringing
decision.
my
I'm
talents
taking my
to
talents
Tatooine.
to the Naboo Starfighter.
No. It's just Grogu goes up to the podium and he's just got a frog in his mouth.
I'm just here so I don't
Someone-
get fined.
Someone who's listening, or our own social team, can we do a social recreation of Grogu with The Decision?
We need
like,
Robbie
with the
Crowder
sit
on
down
the
and
job.
Kenny. It was Kenny Mayne, right? He did it with.
Oh,
I can't remember.
God,
I
it's
can-
so-
I
is,
think-
it a YMCA? That's all, or Boys and Girls?
We can
YMCA.
easily recreate that. But anyway, to the whole decision, the fact that Luke obviously has has attachment, clearly still with like Han and Leia.
Maybe with too much of Leia.
Creepy.
He's creepy. It's creepy.
He is obviously kind
The
of
original Leia,
setting
just-
things up in the wrong light, right? Where he's forcing Grogu to make a
That's
decision.
why he sucks.
Do you think this is truly the beginning of his downfall as a Jedi Master, as a teacher?
Yeah,
At
it
this
can't,
moment,
be, it can't be his downfall. He never really
He never rebounded.
he never this is like his first student.
It's showing
It can't be his
his-
downfall. It's
Yeah.
like he's
It's showing his flaws too, because he's repeating a lot of the same mistakes that led to the fall of the Jedi. He's falling into the old ways of the Jedi Order from the prequel trilogies of you must remove attachment, all the same things that Yoda and Mace Windu and Obi-Wan and all the old Jedi Order were really like preaching hardcore of like, yeah. And if you go back to the original trilogy, right, it's Luke forsaking that original way of being like, don't, because remember Yoda at the end of episode 5 is like, stay here, let your friends die, get rid of emotional attachment, right?
Right.
He's like, who if they die.
Well, no,
they die,
Yoda
right?
didn't say that. He's just
Well,
like
yeah, but-
the Force will figure it out.
Right, it's like
Yeah.
and he's like, no, I'm gonna go save them, and that's what leads to into Episode 6. And by doing that, right, it leads to the Empire falling and the galaxy being whole
United.
for a little bit at least, right, for at least 30 years until the sequel trilogy. So that now brings into the debate. Did he do the right thing? Should he have done the other thing? But he's still repeating those same mistakes.
Well, we know that he's got to repeat those mistakes because,
Right.
let's be honest,
That's what
Kylo Ren is created under him.
Yeah.
So we know that he doesn't exactly get it right. So this is kind of like a nice, almost like what do you call it? Like foreshadowing, maybe making Grogu choose shows sort of how he's setting up his training for prospective students, and we're seeing the problems with that and how a Kylo Ren gets created.
Yeah, and I think Filoni is doing what he does best, right? Which is what he did with the Clone Wars, with Rebels. He's taking characters and their decisions and what they've done and providing tons and tons of evidence of like, this is what you get, right? Because when Episode 8 came out, everyone, including Mark Hamill, were pissed at like, why is Luke like this? And this is providing you a little bit more evidence of like how he's going to get there, right? Because he's, like Christian just said, he's making these mistakes that will potentially lead to these other mistakes that make him grumpy old man Luke.
And there's a really important line in this episode. It's almost like a throwaway line when he turns to Ahsoka and says, "Will I see you again?" I think that says a lot. I think he's
not confident in himself.
He's not confident.
Yep.
Also,
Clearly
it's
not.
almost like she's a connection to his father. That might be a part of it. He's looking at it, and that was delivered with like some emotion there, right? The most emotion that you see out of CGI Luke, and that shows that he hasn't given up all attachment. He's not the perfect Jedi, and in fact, maybe the perfect Jedi is an ideal that you shouldn't even strive for. I mean, it's not.
Somebody on
healthy.
the internet actually pointed this out. Technically, what's interesting, because Grogu has been a youngling and worked at was at Coruscant in the Jedi Temple.
I'm sorry. He worked? What do you mean
Yeah,
he worked?
he was a
He
janitor.
put in the work.
Yeah.
No, but he's been they've mentioned that he's had a few masters and stuff as a Padawan.
He sucks.
What, Grogu?
It's taken him 50 years and he's still a fucking
No,
Padawan.
but what I'm saying is he's actually had more years of training as a Jedi than Luke had.
That's why he sucks.
Yeah, but that's why Luke is like not a great teacher. Like he's feeling the pressure of like I have to like hold everything that the Jedi Order stands for and kind of figure it out on my own. And I think Christian has a great observation of like Ahsoka's like, wait, you know way more than me. Please stick around.
She's like, bye, Felicia.
Peace, bitch.
And
I'm
Luke's
not a
like,
Jedi.
"Please."
Well,
I
she's
gave
gonna
that-
go.
that life up.
She's gonna go deal with her own
Grand
Disney
Admiral
Plus.
Thrawn.
No, her own Disney Plus show.
Oh, Ezra?
Bye, Luke. I gotta go to my Disney Plus show
Yeah.
now.
She's got to go save the kid that she helped, get launched into
space.
another galaxy.
Yep. No, I think that's good. That's a good thing. Like good observation around like the fact that Luke doesn't know a whole lot when it
sucks.
comes to the
It's not that
Jedi.
he sucks,
No,
but
he
he's
does
He
kind of
sucks,
suck.
Mike.
he's a very believable teacher.
Just because somebody is really well suited to save the galaxy from an evil doesn't make them a good teacher or a good person.
Boom.
He also like age wise, he's like 29 at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
he's still-
29.
he's still young.
Do you think
young.
I know anything?
God
No.
no.
And neither do you guys.
Fuck
I
you.
know everything. I'm 34.
Also, Luke does say to Ahsoka actually at one point that he's not training him like Grogu is remembering.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because Grogu, like
Has
we
repressed,
saw
yeah.
these insane
Some
like Order
repressed
60C
memories.
like flashbacks with CGI clone troopers. I would imagine they were still CGI because fun fact, there was on episode 2 and 3 there was never any clone trooper armor physically made. It's all CGI.
Yeah.
So
That
this is
makes
probably CGI armor.
Because
As
George
well.
was obsessed with CGI when the prequel trilogy came out. I was like, can we make the whole thing just fake? No one's real. Just like him and his boy Peter Jackson.
I would be curious to see, like, it would be kind of cool. I know it probably won't happen, and I think the fan base would lose their shit. But if it was like, hey, George, here's an episode of The Mandalorian and the volumetric, soundstage. Go and make an episode. Let's see what you come up with. And somehow, because George was kind of ahead in the sense of like, oh, it's CGI and just like generate everything digitally. He somehow goes way, way into the future where he's like, cool, we'll be volumetric, it'll look nice, but if you want the full experience, you need to unlock and buy the NFTs.
I would leave.
I think I'd retire.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that's what like filmmaking becomes? Like if you want the full experience, it's like loot boxes,
Yeah, I really.
but in
hope not.
filmmaking.
So it's like at Disneyland when you go
Yeah,
to the Spider-Man
yep,
ride, and
yep.
it's like, well, if you want to kill more robots faster, buy this $20 attachment toy.
Yep, loot boxes right there.
What if you then had the ending behind the NFT, but it's different endings? So depending on what you got,
Well, that's like a
Randomized.
Bandersnatch kind of.
Or X-Men Origins
yeah, only
Wolverine,
randomized.
Or that, yeah.
where they had the 3 different after credit scenes depending on where you lived.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
There's 3 different after credits for that.
Wolverine.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
So wait, depending on where you lived. So
Yeah, I mean, they
people
kinda
in-
randomized
Did
it
people
by
like?
theater.
Did people like in China have a different ending than people in America?
I think it depended on the theater, essentially, like whatever copy they gave.
Okay.
So going back to everyone's favorite little guy, Grogu. Obviously, we see the flashbacks of the 501st during the Order 66
Coruscant.
on
right?
Coruscant. I mean, this is the first time we're seeing a Grogu flashback of that
Right.
kind of level. Any theories in terms of who potentially is saving him?
Mace Windu, obviously.
He's dead at this point.
No.
Yep.
Remember? How do you know? We saw him fly out of a window.
Yeah, so he's
Remember?
dead.
Do you remember the big theories around Book of Boba? Who is one character, right, that Boba is
Han
tied
Solo.
to? It's Mace Windu because he
Solo.
cut his father's head off.
Okay.
And so it's been wildly speculated that Mace Windu isn't dead.
I'm pretty sure
So
you
what
were
better
the
way-
only one wildly speculating.
No,
Mace
it's all
Windu
over the internet.
Is the Syndicate.
Yeah. How awesome would it be to bring back Mace Windu? Because a lot of people are calling for it. They're predicting it. You bring him back in a flashback where he saves Grogu.
2
It'd be
weeks
the best
ago,
way to bring-
2
to
weeks
bring him
ago,
back.
Christian, I would have called you crazy. But now, after all of the shit they revealed in
I'm
this
calling you
episode,
batshit crazy.
I would say it's not impossible.
No, it's not.
It's not impossible.
Yeah,
I could see
it's
it.
it's a little bit impossible, just
Nothing's
because like
impossible.
everymes we've seen so far in
Gravity,
terms of
how
like
many times
cameos.
Did you see
How
Mace
many times-
die on screen that
How
I don't know
many times has Darth Maul died in Star Wars?
about? 3.
4.
4?
Mace Windu has
Actually,
only
just the
died
once.
once.
Just the
so-
once he's died on screen. Or actually, no, twice he's died on screen.
Who?
But that's what
Maul?
happened.
Maul.
The guy got cut in half and fell down a shaft, and everyone's like, "Yeah, he's dead." We're like, "Oh yeah, guess what? He's not dead."
Yeah.
Well,
Mace
the-
Windu lost a hand. He gets cut
Mace
in half.
Windu has more reason to potentially be alive
Sure.
Than Darth
than
Maul.
Darth Maul.
But here's the thing though with Mace Windu as a character, and just goes to why his lightsaber is purple. Because he toes the line from a fighting and a personality standpoint between good and evil and aggression.
Sure.
If a motherfucker like that gets his arm chopped off and flown out a goddamn window, do you really think his first thing is going to be like, well, I guess I'll go into hiding now? No, he's going to come guns a-blazing being like, I'm Samuel L. motherfucking Jackson, bitch.
But he was a Jedi Master, and so while you're right that his fighting style towed the line, he himself, the way he did things, wasn't like that.
He was in your face, and like everything for him was like, especially in the Clone Wars, he was always like big ass assaults.
He does show up with an army.
Yeah, he's like a big, loud
Yeah.
motherfucker.
But here's the thing, though. He's also smart, right? If he doesn't have anyone behind him, he's not going to show up and be like,
I'm sorry, I'm taking my glasses off for that statement.
Also, there's
he's
amnesia.
smart.
Yes,
he's
he's
smart. He
he's
took
a Jedi Master. Of course,
he
he's
took
smart.
Tom, Dick, and Harry to go take on Palpatine, and instead of coordinating a proper fighting stance, he's like, let's just take him on one at a time.
They weren't prepared. Okay, first of all, that is clearly George Lucas's fault. That should have been a way better fight.
No
so
shit,
don't you
yeah.
blame Mace Windu for that.
Yeah, Brain
Sir.
Papa Palpatine.
Yeah.
Brain
Yeah,
Papa.
and also,
Brain
I'm
Papa.
sorry. Samuel L. Jackson is dead. It's like
Samuel L. Jackson is not
no,
dead.
Samuel Jackson's not dead.
All right.
And second
Mace
of all,
Windu.
it's
Oh,
so-
sorry, yeah, Samuel, yeah,
Do
Mace
not
Windu.
say Samuel L.
Um,
Jackson's dead.
It's just and put it this way, right? He's not dead. He's coming back. He's coming back.
I'd be fine
back.
with Mace Windu showing up if
In
they
a
did,
flashback.
if they did like Jedi Fallen Order, the sequel game. If he shows up in that to me
In a video
that
game?
makes sense.
No, that's stupid.
That makes sense
We
in
need
that,
more
in that
from him.
story period, that timeline. It makes no sense that he would take what is it, like 30-ish years to just be like, what's up guys, how's everybody doing?
Doesn't mean it's just the first time he's seeing them.
You misunderstand me. I said nothing about the present day. I
Right.
said you just see a burned, scarred, handless Mace Windu show up to save Grogu in his flashback from now when he gets his own show, right? Where he dies at the end of that show, and it's before a Book of Boba.
Yeah, it's called Secret
everything
Invasion.
Is fine. Yeah, Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion. Okay, fine. That works, I guess. Mace
Anakin.
Windu in a flashback.
Yeah.
To go back to your original question of
fucking
who
cool.
it is, this is one that I've been trying to think about for a long time. Of like,
It's Anakin.
Who could it have been to save Grogu? I can't come up with a good answer, but my feeling, if they haven't revealed who it is yet, it's either there's two
Ahsoka.
reasons. It's either because it doesn't matter, or it does matter, and it's like a big reveal.
Yeah.
It just actually clicked in my head.
It's Ahsoka.
No,
Ahsoka's not there. She's a Mandalore.
It's Anakin.
I think it's
No!
I think it's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I think we're gonna see part of it in the Kenobi series.
Kaboozy.
Oh, that makes sense.
And the
Also,
reason
boring.
very boring. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
No, I'm kidding. It could be really
Also,
cool.
you know what's also interesting? I was telling Christian this too, like from a time perspective, right? To us, the viewer, seeing Luke and Grogu, right? You know, for us, where Luke is with a little green guy, you know, it's been decades, right? Last time we saw that was episode 6 when he keeps saying, Luke, I'm dying. Luke, please don't ransack my house, you bitch. But for Luke, it's 6 years roughly 6 years between those two events.
Yeah.
Where he's seen a person that size and then a person.
Hey,
That person
he saw
that size.
Ewoks.
Wow.
Ewoks are that size.
Fine, he's seen a species
Yeah, there
like
we go.
that. Is that the more PC term?
No, it's the correct term.
Okay, fine.
Because he's seen little
So
people.
he's seen a green little guy.
Yeah.
So you guys, do we think though there's a relationship to Yoda
Yes.
beyond that they're the same species?
Yeah, it's a love
Force.
child between him and Yaddle.
Or it's a Pokemon. It's a ditto.
Or it's a clone.
It's a ditto.
It's a clone, a love child, or a third cousin.
It's connected to Omega.
That's it.
I need my prediction to still come true and her to show up.
Oh, wait,
so-
wait. How about this?
Omega.
I just came with the perfect last episode. Mace Windu saves Grogu in a flashback, and then Omega shows up in the present day and kills Cad Bane before Cad Bane has a chance to kill Boba.
Oh, you know what
And
it
then
is.
Fennec is a traitor, and Fennec then kills Omega.
Yeah, I think Fennec's gonna be a traitor in the last episode.
Really? I don't. There's nothing I've
Solely
seen
because
that,
solely because I was making the thumbnail for this, and I want to do the good, the bad, the ugly, and I did Boba, Fennec, and Cad Bane, and I don't want to call Fennec ugly. That's just cruel on me because she's very beautiful.
Why
I
did
had
you-
to make her the bad
Why didn't you pick a different character to be the bad?
because
like
it just it
Boba
makes
Fett.
sense.
You could have picked Luke
Mandalorian.
too. You could put Luke there. That would have been way better.
That's stupid.
the
You
good,
could've put
the
the-
bad question mark with Luke.
You could have put like the Naboo Starfighter.
No, Fennec the bad question mark makes more sense.
Interesting. No, it's not going to happen.
Really? What if like she's working undercover for the Pikes?
Well, I mean, clearly
Money
there's someone.
speaks louder
okay.
than
Well, here's a
other
theory I want to
stuff.
get into. We've talked a little bit about Cad Bane, and he shows up and he says, "I'm here for the Syndicate." I feel like with Cad Bane now being involved, there is someone bigger behind the Syndicate, right? It's not just these Hutts or Mokshays.
Well, yeah,
or
he's there for the
Pi-
Pikes.
Yeah, but there's someone.
Like they sent
but,
him.
But I feel like it's someone. It's not just like the Pikes in general. I feel like there's someone else, like a bigger reveal coming here.
There's definitely going to be a
Mephisto.
bigger reveal, but I don't think. I think that's going to be an after credit thing.
Or like, yeah, end of the episode.
Oh, King.
Yeah.
A lot of people, there have been a lot of speculation because, like, obviously people have connected Han Solo to being part of the show, and a lot of people have connected Kira from the Solo movie being part of that, as she was a character that was heavily involved in the Syndicate. So maybe.
Yeah, speaking of characters returning from the dead, her boss would have been Darth Maul. So
And speaking of connections, the actress who plays Kira, Emilia Clarke, is starring with Samuel L. Jackson in Secret Invasion. So therefore, we could just go over from one set to the other.
boom.
Who's she playing in Secret Invasion?
They haven't announced the
Is it a
Daenerys.
Skrull?
Daenerys Targaryen.
Who's to say it's
Kree?
different sets, Arjuna?
It's the same.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
same show. That's the reveal. The Book of Boba title slowly fades away, and it just says Secret Invasion. They're all scrolls.
It's the
I don't know what I
scroll
would do if I
of
saw
Boba.
The scroll. I just want to point out real
yeah, go
quick, your worst nightmare. If we are gonna get Obi-Wan saving Grogu, prepare for a slightly
That's not my worst fear.
no. Your worst fear is this: a slightly de-aged CGI Ewan McGregor.
Oh,
with
I
longer
already
hair.
know for a fact we're gonna see
They
that.
could just put his
He's
beard back on.
naturally
Like, he's not-
de-aged.
Oh, that's
yeah,
true.
He's
he-
naturally
He
de-aged.
like
he got that Hollywood money,
Yeah.
bruh.
He has a couple more wrinkles,
But-
but he doesn't look like his
you
flawless
don't, but you
self
don't have to do
in
as
episode
much. You
3.
don't have to do as
Christian,
much.
I know.
Christian,
No,
real
not
quick.
for you.
These cameras that we use to record this podcast, which you can see fully on youtube.com/wasitgood, boom, drop.
Ooh, bomb.
They naturally have like de-aging and smoothing bullshit things in there
I
already.
understand that.
Like,
I understand.
not
that.
much needs to be done.
but they might fuck it up.
I know I'm a little late to this game, but you're talking about saving Grogu. I think what you get for real is a scene where Grogu gets saved. You hear a "Misa help you."
Jar Jar Binks. No, Jar Jar Binks at this point is a like degenerate gambling drunk on
No,
Naboo.
but we're talking
No,
about
but
the
in the
flashback. though. He's a
flashback.
senator at that point.
Oh, good point. No,
And
he's
he could
under
get him
he's
to-
under the influence of the Force.
He could get him
Wow.
to
That's
dark
the
side.
theory.
right.
How can he
so
be under
Grogu
the
gets some
influence if
dark
he's
side
Darth
training,
Jar Jar?
and
He's
that's how
not
he
Darth
forgets.
Jar Jar, you weirdo.
But he also could get him to Obi-Wan.
Potentially. Last thing we didn't talk about real quick
Ooh.
on Luke and that planet and Mando showing up and taking a nice relaxing bench lie down. The planet.
There's been a lot of debate about this.
So
Wait,
what? A couple of YouTubers
Oh.
that I follow that did their kind of like big, Easter egg things that you missed, they just automatically assumed it's Yavin 4.
Because that's what it was in the Legends books.
yes.
Yeah.
And also it's green.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And beyond that, that's about it. But the bigger question I have, if it's Yavin 4, if it's not Yavin 4, do we think it's the same location that we see in the flashbacks in the sequel trilogy
Yeah, I do.
where Luke's school is all burned to the ground?
It does look eerily similar.
Yeah.
It's the big booby.
I want them to do a Blair Witch Project style
Star
short
Wars.
of that burning down. So it's like, I'm in the woods and I'm alone, and then I'm trying to escape from the burning temple. And it's like, I don't know. Before this episode, I would have hoped it was like Grogu, like running around, like, oh, save me from Ben. But it can't be him now because he's going to choose the chainmail and go with Mando.
I mean, do we all agree that he's picking the chainmail and he's going with Mando?
Yes.
Just from
It doesn't make any sense.
just
for him
from
to pick the
there's
It
a
would be
Mando
weird.
season 3, and we all know Grogu's very important to the show.
It would be
Yes.
weird if he didn't. I guess the question is that going to happen and he's going to show up on Tatooine in 7? Also, like if Luke now takes Grogu back to him, takes him to Tatooine, then you get the Luke Boba
And I get my big
You get
big
your
sport-
Avengers
my-
Assemble.
My Avengers Assemble.
Yeah, you get. I mean, but I think that's what people are wondering, right? Like, because people, especially once you've seen Luke, it's like, okay, Luke and Boba obviously go way back to in the movies and everything. So it's
best
like,
friends.
are we go? They've both been in the same show, but they haven't shared a scene together. Is that going to happen?
Right.
Um,
I guess.
Or is that going to happen in Mando season 3? Essentially,
Damn, I just lost what I was going to say. Damn it.
Honestly, my big speculation is going to be, I think what we just saw with all of this CGI Luke, I think that's it. I think it's going to be.
I don't think we've seen any more Grogu, any more Luke, anymore.
Yeah, I think that we will see Grogu in season 3, but I think like from a Luke standpoint, Luke is going to kind of go back to the shadows, if you will, because I think Mando season 3 is really going to be around like we were talking about. It's going to be around the ideas of like, who am I in this big galaxy, right? Mando no longer has his clan. Grogu is now clearly gonna start remembering what's happened to him and has to kind of make that choice of like, what do I want to do? Do I want to stay with Papa Mando and help rebuild the Mandalorians? And I think Din and Din Djarin is going to rebuild Mandalore. I think it's already been kind of teased that he's going to some caves on Mandalore. Why would you have all of this like emphasis on what happened there and show the Terminator scene if we're not going to go back to that glorious burned rock?
I'm going to go exact opposite.
Of course you are.
Luke and Grogu are both going to end up on Tatooine because that sets up a very satisfying finale. I think why not have the Avengers assemble, right? Why take 2 episodes away from Boba, right, and not have a payoff in the last episode with that? You're right. Boba and Luke have history. They have a lot of history. And this is the book of Boba, and as Arjuna said, and or as you called out from that Twitter thing,
True.
about Boba changing people around him. Luke was certainly changed because of Boba. So why not? And then you can pick up with Mando season 3 when Mando and Grogu are reunited after the Battle of Tatooine.
What would you say though if Boba became part of the regular crew?
I think he will be part of the regular crew.
No,
Oh, I think he's gonna die at the end of this show.
Wow.
wow.
Oh yeah, I think this
Is it? Wait, I'm sorry. Is this like a legit thing, or is this Arjuna's like,
No,
you die?
Someone's
no,
gonna
no.
die.
I legit think like that's how his character is gonna end in this show. I think like I think part of the reason too of showing all these characters and like the effect of Boba is because it's like the legacy of Boba Fett.
The book of Boba Fett.
The book of Boba Fett, right? This is like the final chapter in his life, and I feel like potentially part of the reason of like doing this show is to give the character a goodbye and say like goodbye to the character, because then it's like, look at like the Cobb Vanth part of this show, right? They talked about a lot of like, oh, I don't have the armor anymore and all that type of stuff. Like he'll get that armor back, right? The ship. Mando will get the ship. So you have all of these kind of legacy pieces that kind of move on. Fennec potentially starts traveling. with
Yeah, I know. So
I don't have to throw my Lego Boba Fett ship anymore.
No, don't throw it away.
Oh, when I've decided to make, otherwise I'll just end up with a lot of stuff. So I've decided to make this new rule: when a piece of weaponry or armor or something changes, I just throw it away.
What's your epiphany?
My epiphany is this. I think he's right. Boba's going to die. So
messed up,
why
bro.
not have Luke and Grogu appear on Tatooine? Boba comes into contact with Grogu, and Grogu's memory is unlocked, perhaps, sees a Mace Windu, and Boba sees that at the same time, right? Sees this Mace Windu memory of Grogu's, as Mace Windu saves. And that's, I don't know exactly how that would play out, but Mace Windu kills. We did see...
You really want this Mace thing to come into interaction with Boba.
Why show Boba,
No.
Boba as a kid holding Jango's helmet at all?
Here's why.
Character
I figured it out.
development.
No, I figured it out. And this comes directly from George Lucas. When he talked about Episode 3, originally the idea
no idea
was...
what's going on.
His original idea was Boba Fett was going to show up at the Jedi Temple to kill Mace Windu. This is going to still have that idea in there. Boba Fett did show up to the temple, but he showed up too late, and he saved Grogu. That's the person who saved Grogu.
And that's why he was willing to help Mando.
Correct.
Because he
He
recognized
recognized the little youngling
Green
that he
thing.
saved. And then he dies.
Boba saved Grogu.
Boba saved Grogu. That's how it's going to be.
Wait a minute, but he would
That's
have
what
been.
they're going to do, though.
But he would
I
have been
think
like a
that's what they're gonna
teenager,
do.
right?
Yeah, he was
Well,
He
no,
would've
he's,
been
not,
like-
he's literally
or a
like
kid
2
still.
years older.
Oh, so like 10
Or like a year older. Because the Clone Wars is only a year.
He would have been a teen then, or something.
Right. He's very young.
He's like a kid.
But I think it's going to end up it was Boba that saved Grogu.
It was Boba all along.
and then he'll die.
And then he'll die, right?
That's
So-
actually pretty solid. But the one thing that I would like dig into that
I still want Mace Windu.
whole setup, right, is not
That'd be
not
pretty
just
fucking
that, but like
crazy.
when they invaded the temple, they locked it down with the 501st. Like an entire militia was there at the temple.
Yeah, but Boba is also, even at a young age, and the Clone Wars show is shown to be very resourceful, very like
He's
very
also
good.
He
and
could
true.
pass as like a cadet, right? He looks like the clone, so maybe he's like, oh, I got lost in my cadet squadron.
They would not bring cadets.
Plus,
But he's-
we
you
all know
know?
the universe is so small that who else is it going to be?
Yeah, well, obviously it was R2 who saved him.
Maybe it's just a character that we've never met. It's the custodian.
It's like C-3PO. Like C-3PO was like, oh my goodness, you little man.
You remember
Picks him up and carries him away.
Galen in the Galen.
Galen does it.
No. So who we interviewed, the city clerk, Galen Howard. He had made a suggestion of like, oh, wouldn't it be great if there was an office style Star Wars?
totally.
So we make an office style Star Wars, and the like finale after 10 seasons leads up to that moment of some random character from that series who
Galen.
saves Grogu.
Galen, the
Sure, yeah, whoever.
the town hall clerk.
That's actually that's Arjuna.
Come here, little guy.
I'm not gonna lie, Arjuna. That's probably like your best ever theory because it actually ties in very, very nicely.
It all clicked when. Well, I mean, props to Krishna of like going through it, and I was like, oh, it's
You know how
Boba.
like in Attack on Titan when Eren touches someone's royal blood and he gets all the memories? Same idea.
Yeah.
Let's revisit our bold predictions here before we ask that big question of was it
We never
good?
did our one-word impression, huh?
Yeah, I know. I just kind of
We
threw
had
that.
a lot
We
to
were all
discuss.
over the place, and this
It's a
is a
suggestion.
fully stacked thing. Krishna, we will start doing the slow clap for Krishna. And then we'll stop.
Boo.
Then we'll stop because you were wrong. Krishna had predicted that his penultimate Old West showdown between Boba and Cad Bane. That did not happen. Cad Bane will die. That
Old
did not
West
happen.
There was an Old West Showdown. Though.
There was.
Yeah.
But again, the whole thing has to be correct.
No.
Cad Bane will be played by Paul Giamatti. That also did not happen.
How do you know?
And I have no idea who Cad Bane is. Don't know why that was put in there.
Our producer.
Our producer. Okay.
But
I had said, and these are entire seasons. So Christian, you were officially out of the running.
I'm still in the running.
You're out of the running.
He gets a half point because he did guess that Cad would show up in the penultimate. There would be a
And
showdown.
an Old West Showdown.
And that did happen.
With a version of Boba.
Wait, real quick. You see the outline here? I'm going into text and formatting, and I'm doing. Is that the strike through?
Yep, that's the shot.
There, boom,
Ooh.
dude, it's done.
Whoa.
You're out.
You need to erase yours then.
Nah.
Yeah, no, I lost mine too. I said that Boba's ship will blow up, so I'm out of the running as well.
Wait, why? It
That's
could still happen
this
in
is
the
entire season.
finale.
This entire season.
No, erase it.
No, yours is out because you said penultimate.
No,
You should
just
never
erase
do a penultimate.
I was half right.
He does get. I would say.
and
he gets a
Krishna
half
and
point.
Krishna. Arjuna
Krishna.
said that Omega will show up for the whole. That's his big one.
I'm not as confident in that anymore.
He's not confident in that anymore, so that sucks. I think mine still makes sense from the emotional standpoint. Going back to what you were saying about Boba dying, I don't think Star Wars and Lucasfilm is there unless it's, son killing father because the actor wants out, i.e. Han Solo, Harrison Ford.
I bet the Naboo starfighter gets destroyed, and then Din takes the ship.
But in terms of bold predictions for Chapter 6, this most recent episode, Christian said they're going to recruit Cara Dune and then kill her, kill Gina, all digital like Leia.
Well, there was an all digital character.
Yeah.
Still
It
gets
was
no
just
points.
Luke.
But
No
they
points.
didn't kill Cara Dune.
I said that Grogu, Luke Skywalker, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka Tano, Din are all going to be in a scene together, and it will
Close.
take place completely on Tatooine, and
False.
Luke will comment on how shitty the planet is. Lots of cosplays recreating this major scene. This did not happen, but we did get
close.
Luke and Grogu sitting far away with a... Thank you, Alexa, for letting us know
Did
that.
anyone else tear up when you saw the Naboo starfighter flying away and Grogu sees it at a distance as Luke and he just puts out his hand? It's like,
No, I'm
I
like,
didn't
idiot.
tear up, but
you get sad?
No, I don't get sad.
I felt
Because
his
my
emotion.
cat does that all the time, and I'm like, you're stupid.
Wow, you guys are heartless.
Yes, very heartless. So I get the most points because I was pretty close.
No, you don't.
I
you
mean,
get the
if I
same
could
amount-
Ahsoka showed up,
Hey,
I
get-
if my season long gets 0 points, then yours gets.
I
0
love how
points.
upset you guys get over these fake points.
I want my points.
You get a third of your points.
I get 15 points.
You get.
I
half
just
of your
wrote it down.
points.
15
No.
points there. Arjuna said this episode will be a Boba Fett recruits a shit ton of people, and we get a ton of character cameos.
I also get half points because
Yeah.
we did get a ton of character cameos, and the spirit
Only
of the
four.
show.
Only four
The
cameos.
spirit of the show.
That's a lot
Five.
of cameos.
the
Five cameos?
spirit of the show.
Wait, how many? We got Cobb, Cad, Ahsoka, Luke, Grogu. Yeah, five.
R2.
Oh, R2. He's a character.
Don't
I
forget
guess.
R2. He's
He's
one
a-
of the most popular Star Wars
He's
characters.
a droid, though.
Cobb and Cad.
You could make
Copycat.
you could. There's probably. I mean, people are wondering this is probably not the first time Luke and Ahsoka have met. So people are like, well, how did they meet? When did they meet? What?
Why
caused them
do
to
we
meet?
need to know every single fucking
As
minute
Star
of
Wars
Star
fans.
Wars?
We
As
do.
Star Wars fans, but my theory is it could have been R2 that connected them.
Through the Force.
No, through being a droid.
Swipe right with R2.
But let's hear bold predictions for the finale of Book of Boba Fett for Chapter 7.
I'm just gonna.
Arjuna, yours is going to be, we
Yeah,
get the flashback that shows it's Boba.
Boba saved Grogu. Boba will die.
Wow,
That's
I love
Arjuna's big
that.
prediction.
That's a great one.
Christian, do you have a bit? Is yours Mace Windu shows up in a
So
flashback?
mine's going to be
Go even
two
bolder.
part. It's going to be Luke and Grogu appear on Tatooine for a big finale. Grogu and Boba will connect, and right before Boba dies, he's going to see Mace Windu saving Grogu, and it's going to cause Boba an untold amount of emotional pain knowing that his father's killer might be alive, and then he dies.
Wow, that's dark.
I know.
My bold prediction is
But I love
going
it.
to follow Arjuna's, where Boba dies. But I'm going to add on to it a little bit, where Cobb Vanth will get the armor.
Oh.
He will officially become not
new
Boba
Boba.
Fett, but he will be the new owner of the armor. And Rex shows up at the end of the post-credit scene, just as a way to let you know that Tamora Morrison is not done with Star Wars.
Love it.
He shows up as the entire Bad Batch.
Boom.
Now, how do you make?
I lost one job, but I just got 6
I
more.
just got a shit ton more.
How are they gonna like CGI him onto like a giant wrecker body?
I mean, it's just morphing it. They could do it.
Or into what's the thin guy?
But I think like
traitor?
honestly, I think that like, how would you feel though? Like you're watching this, right? And there's this big emotional moment. Boba is dead. They probably then they burn the body, and then at the fucking funeral for some random ass reason, they're at the funeral. They're panning through all the characters, and there's Tamara Morrison as Rex
with a white
just
goatee.
standing
Wait, is
there.
this
Just like
the funeral
Smith in Matrix 2.
Is this like the funeral at Avengers Endgame, which is Tony's funeral? It's just like every character.
yeah.
It's
Basically.
just every Star Wars character, every possible live action Star.
Han is there. Leia is there.
C-3PO for some reason.
Jar Jar.
Jar Jar's there. Just
characters
everybody.
make-
Yeah.
BB-8's there for some reason.
Bo-Katan's there.
A child Poe Dameron is there.
Yeah,
Charles
boom.
Ray.
Yep.
It's like okay.
Palpatine is just hanging out.
He's there. He's like, this guy was great for us.
Force Qui-Gon for no reason.
General Hux is a kid. Rose. Is it Rose? Rose is there.
Yeah, just
Oh,
everybody.
the two sisters.
Laura Dern's character's there.
The two sisters from Bad Batch.
Yep, two sisters from Bad
Just
Batch
put
are there.
everybody in there.
Was it Bad Batch? No.
Every single
they were
droid, every single droid
K2SO.
companion you've seen ever. Yeah, K2SO is back somehow.
He died, but he's back.
He's back.
They put the characters from Rogue One who are all dead.
Yep, they're spirits. They're ghosts.
Why?
This is like the impact of Boba Fett. It's so
Randy,
huge.
you know what you're gonna have to do now is you're gonna have to take that scene from Avengers Endgame.
Yep.
And just Photoshop all these faces onto those.
Oh,
characters.
I'm not
You're gonna
doing
have
that
to do it.
at
We
all.
come up with some great social ideas.
It's
This podcast.
only if it happens though. If Boba doesn't die, well, that whole idea goes to shit.
He probably won't die.
Yeah, no, exactly. He's gonna join the team.
The shipper's gonna blow up. That's what's gonna happen.
And then he's just gonna join the team.
You know why? This is my other crazy bold prediction about the ship blowing up. To tie into it, the real reason the ship's gonna blow up is not for an emotional impact, but it's because Star Wars has fans that do not like the idea that the name of Boba Fett's ship has changed, and they're trying to kind of retcon it and remove it.
If you destroy it, you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
If
then
if
he
it's
gets
destroyed,
the Naboo Starfighter.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, or what? Or better yet, if he is like the Jabba the Hutt, right, on this planet, why does he even need a fucking ship if he's just gonna stay on
That's true.
Tatooine the whole
He
time?
wants to be a
Because he's
daimyo.
gonna die.
Daimyo.
Exactly.
Daimyo.
Well, look at that. Anyway. The point is, I think after after chapter 7, I don't think we have to worry about Boba Fett's ship anymore. Either because it's inherited by somebody else, it blows up, Boba dies, just something will happen. I think we can all agree that will most likely happen. And with that, Krishna, please kick us off
Wow.
for our
Luke
Super
will
Bowl
die.
halftime show.
Oh. Let's get ready to rumble. Arjuna, was chapter 6 of the Book of Boba good?
Yes, and it was the best 47 minutes
Of your
Star
life.
Wars has ever produced.
No, say of your life.
The best 47 minutes of my life.
Well, that's a shorter amount of time. My life is shorter than the span of Star Wars. Star Wars has been around since the 70s.
Yeah.
I've only been around since the 90s.
But I want you to say this is that was the best 47 minutes of your life so far.
No, it's the best 47 minutes of Star Wars content we've ever gotten.
Sure, but you personally though.
No,
Out of
out of all
everything
the
you've
things,
done
yeah.
in your life.
I've had better 47 minutes.
Wow.
It's so weird.
Oh, man.
Tell us in detail
Was it
about
that
them.
diarrhea poop session you had?
No, he said
sometimes
good.
you sometimes you get those shits though, and then when you let it out, it's just like you feel so relieved, and it's like I'm a new man.
I had one the
could do
other day where
anything
I was
ever
tearing
again.
up because I ordered red sauce for my Chipotle. Never order red salsa. It's terrible.
I haven't had Chipotle.
Don't. Oh,
I haven't
Chipotle's
had Chipotle
gross.
since the Eternals.
You know, one of the Chris is obviously moving out of here or whatever and going to whatever. One thing I am happy about is I'll probably never eat Chipotle ever again.
Lauren likes Chipotle,
Doesn't matter.
Wow.
This will be a Chipotle-free zone.
Shu Sahara hates Chipotle.
You know what's funny, though? Chipotle was created in Colorado. Allegedly.
So are the Republicans that are in power currently.
They were
Planet
created
Fitness was
in the GOP lab
Yeah,
in Colorado.
The GOP
the
lab.
lab. The
GOP
GOP
lab.
lab.
The GOP lab.
Ravi
Mhm.
was.
Mhm.
What was the show called again? Book of Boba, Chapter 6. From the desert comes a stranger. I did love that we got one stranger at the beginning and a second stranger at the end. Pretty cool, if you ask me. But Ravi, was the episode good?
Yes, it was good.
Can you retcon your answer from last week?
No, I'm not going to retcon my answer from last week because my thought process, I still agree with my thought process where it was last week.
It was flawed, though.
No, it wasn't. And I will
We
say
asked if the episode was good, but your thought process of saying the episode was bad because of that is flawed.
this episode was good because it was good Star Wars. It was
As was
it was good because it was a good Star Wars connected story, bringing a bunch of interesting characters together. We're getting towards the end of the story finally, and we're getting some really fun and interesting theories online. The community as a whole, I think, is being, for the most part, pretty positive. You still have the weirdos complaining about Cad Bane being too not being characterized enough and weird and elongated. Like, you know, like, do people want Count Dooku from the Clone Wars to look like that in real life? Probably not. It's horrific.
I'm just gonna say these characters were created on like animated first and went to the extremes, right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna get that perfectly live action.
You don't want it.
So shut the fuck up.
You
exactly.
Don't want that.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I just want to point out, you're gonna look back at what you said yes and no for in the show, and you're gonna
Because you're saying episode
3 was good. You said episode 3 was good, and then you said last week's, which
Episode
was
5 was
chapter 5, was bad.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
It
Again, makes no sense.
No, it does.
Doesn't.
You have to remember when you go and you watch these. This is also going back to like the bigger problems that we have with this pod, where we are going week to week. You don't have all the information, right? You can't go and say, "Was Book of Boba Fett the series week 3 good?" Because it's not done. You don't have
But
all
you
the
can.
information.
You can
look
look
at
at
the
the
episode
individual
individually,
episode and
and that
say
was
if
a
it was
bad-
good or not.
Right,
Which is what we're saying.
And what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, for episode 5, after I watched it, I did not appreciate what was presented. You know, based on the fact that the show was called Book of Boba, and we were missing some part. You know,
So then
my
my
perspective
question
of
is-
it wasn't where it is right now.
So
And that's allowed to change. You guys are aware of that.
No, I get that.
You're wrong, and I want you to apologize.
Yeah. I
to
want a
Dave
personal-
Filoni
I want a written letter.
and Bryce Dallas Howard.
When will you apologize to Tom Gunn or whatever his name is for the things you said about him on the other podcast?
James Gunn.
James Gunn. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that you
Wait,
I
guys
have
pretty
nothing to
heated.
apologize for.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
He was basically ripping into James.
I wasn't.
Gunn.
They-
He
I
basically
wasn't.
said James Gunn's an idiot.
I didn't say
Yes.
no.
He
They
said he was
literally,
that
took, they literally
talented.
took my words and they weaponized them
twisted-
against me.
Yes, we
I
did.
love it when we do that to each
Yes,
other.
you do that all the time. Anyway, Krishna was
It's called gaslighting? No.
the desert from a stranger.
I didn't see that episode.
Anyway,
Desert
was
from a
Book of Boba Fett,
Stranger.
Chapter 6, From the Desert Comes a Stranger. Good.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Say it.
Say
it.
No, I'm not going to say it's the best thing I've ever seen. I'm not going to say that.
Say it's better than Attack on Titan.
No, God, no.
Just
kidding,
no.
just kidding.
I cannot.
Don't
I can't
hurt
say
me.
that. I know. There's no way. No, it was really good. Lots of really cool moments that sort of tied all corners of Star Wars together in this episode. Like we sort of mentioned earlier, like we got like prequel stuff, original trilogy, all coming together in this episode. Very cathartic, very nice.
I have a question. A lot of people, and by saying a lot of people, me specifically, have complained about Cad Bane's hat. You know, the brim isn't long enough.
And thank
Do we
you
think-
for
Do we
tuning
think that's-
in.
Do we think it's Dave Filoni's hat?
No.
I think it is.
No, I don't think so.
The hat,
I've
Dave
seen his
Filoni has
hat.
a darker cowboy hat.
He has multiple hats. It could be one of his. That's
no,
what I'm
he
saying.
only has the one hat.
He has more than one.
He
No,
has
he's
one
got
hat.
one- he's
He's
got more
poor.
than one.
Or Judah, he gets paid like a PA.
George Lucas paid him like it was his son.
With that, that's going to do it for us here on Was It Good? As always, we put these pods in full, in beautiful HD video on youtube.com/wasitgood. Definitely go over there, subscribe, turn that bell notification on so you know when we drop these episodes and our VODs. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Was It Good Pod. Follow us on Twitter at Was It Good. Our website, wasitgood.info, has great blogs. Check it out. Our next podcast is going to be on the one and only greatest film of 2022, Moonfall.
It is?
It is. I don't know when, but
Yeah.
it's the next one.
We're not going to have any time.
I'm pretty sure our next pod would probably be on the finale of the Book of Boba.
No, we're going to squeeze it in. We're going to figure this out.
Don't think that's going to happen.
We're going to figure it out.
Stay tuned to our Twitter handle to see when and what our next
Super
podcast
Bowl is really throwing
on the Moonfall.
Moonfall.
Moonfall. Moonfall next time.
We also have Attack on Titan and
Moonfall.
Peacemaker, Moon,
Macbeth.
Fall, Macbeth.
Oh, I tried watching Macbeth real quick on Apple TV. Hard no. Goodbye.
Well, because this is black and white.
No, it's Old English. It's Shakespearean English. It's so fucking boring.